Hey, what's up folks? Well, back for another fight card prediction. Apologies for getting this out a little bit late. I've been a little bit ill the last few days, the last 4 or 5 days, and it's really been taking out of me, along with work as well, working long shifts. I mean, it's 1:30 AM here. I've just finished a 12-hour shift, so I've really literally had no time to do it in the last 4 or 5 days, so I thought I would try and get it out now. Feeling a little bit better, but apologies for having it out late. As always, thank you for the subscribes, the comments, the likes. Keep it going. Let's keep the subscriptions going. I'm nearly at 1,500. That's going to be a good number for me to hopefully finish off the year. I've got another 52 to go, so let's see if we can get me to 1,500 followers, subscribers, sorry, by the end of the year. And we're going to get into this card. I'm not going to try and take too long. It's going to be kind of like a quick picks card. Because I watched a lot of the tape in this, but it was over a week ago and I haven't really had the chance to revisit too much of it, and there's been a couple of changes to the card as well. So starting off in the featherweight division, we have Felipe Arantes against Josh Emmett. Interesting here because Josh Emmett's making the drop down from 155 to 145, and he's against a solid competitor in Felipe Arantes, who literally pulled out a fight about a month ago, flying over from Brazil. I think he got ill in the flight and affected his weight cut and had to pull out from the fight against Luke Sanders. How do I see this fight going? The kind of thing that I'm looking at in this fight is Josh Emmett's cut down to 145. If it goes smooth, I think over the 3 rounds he's going to have the better gas tank. And Emmett is just a solid professional, whereas Arantes is a little bit more explosive. He's very dangerous. On the feet, on the ground, he's extremely dangerous. If you give him an opportunity to grab a limb, he will take it and run away with it pretty much. So, yeah, I've been kind of... To start off with, I was like, Arantes might have a chance in this one here. But I think that Josh Emmett's just probably, over the 3 rounds, it's going to be more solid in more aspects of the game. And don't really get put in the bad parts of where Felipe Arantes can really find you and hurt you per se. Also like Emmett's gas tank, but he is dropping down from 155, so that may affect his gas tank. So it may get a little bit sloppy towards the end as well. I feel more confident picking Josh Emmett. I just think he's probably got... he'll last a bit longer in the fight with more in his tank, and but he has to be dangerous because Arantes is very, very tough and he throws a lot of heat as well. But the pick's going to be a decision win for Josh Emmett there. Excuse me. Lina Lansberg against Aspen Lad is up next. Interesting fight. I like Aspen Lad quite a bit. I think she's got a lot of potential, but she literally has not fought that many girls. And she's got a decent matchup here for a UFC debut. So obviously supposed to face Jessica Ai and get injured there. But Lansberg is dangerous. She's very tough. She's very willing to get in there and scrap. We've seen that in the Pudilova fight. She took a beat in her face, was mauled to bits, but she came through, won that fight. I've seen some people say that she should have lost that fight. Per se, perhaps, but for me, I thought Lansberg did enough. I think what she's going to want to do here is use that clinch game and use the elbows that she's very, very effective with, and try and do that with Aspen Lad. But I think Lad's going to be too strong for her, and I think that she's going to be able to get her back off the cage and initiate takedowns. And when she gets there, I think she's going to control Lansberg, rain down with strikes, and really just put a beating on her across 3 rounds. So I can see multiple takedowns. But if she gets caught in a clinch and continues to get caught in a clinch throughout the fight, then she could be in a lot of trouble. But I just think that Lad will outwork her, outpace her, and get takedowns and just win the fight through really grinding her out and hurting her with some ground and pound and repeat takedowns. So another decision victory there for Aspen Lad. I didn't even know this fight. I thought Warley Alves... I didn't know that he had a new opponent announced. I knew that Jim Wallhead had fell off. I didn't know that they announced a replacement here. So it's Salim Touhari against Warley Alves. I'm going to pick Alves. I have seen 2 of Touhari's fights. This would probably be maybe 18 months ago. He's not fought in over a year. He's a Polish prospect who's literally not fought in a year. He's got a 10-1 record. I just think coming in late notice against Alves, and Alves is very dangerous, very aggressive early on. If this fight goes late into the fight, perhaps Salim could have some opportunities to put a beating on Alves, because Alves does fade, but he is very opportunistic with his submission. So if Touhari gets a little bit too aggressive going for takedowns per se, I think that Alves can jump on a submission and submit him. I think with the striking, he could definitely land some as well. I just think coming in 3-4 days notice against someone like Warley Alves is very, very tough. Now I know Alves has got to fly all the way over from Brazil, which is another thing that may affect him in this one here, but I just think Alves is going to be a little bit too much. But say, I wouldn't take too much what I've seen regarding this, because I haven't looked too much into Touhari for this one. I just haven't had the time, and literally didn't know about it until the last 45 minutes to an hour ago. So I'm going to pick Alves. I think he can stop him. It's either I can finish early, or it'll probably go to decision, but I'm going to go for the finish there. I'm going to go Warley Alves TKO round number 1. Featherweight division, good fight. This is one of the fights I'm looking forward to in this card. It's a pretty slow moving card, but I like this fight. Artem Lobov against Andre Fili. Both guys in need of a big win here, because they're coming off kind of different losses. Calvin Kattar beat Andre Fili, and I didn't see that coming. I'll be honest with you. I'll stick my hand in the air and say that I thought that Kattar, I think he raised his game a few levels for that fight and thoroughly beat Andre Fili across 3 rounds there. Artem Lobov's coming off a loss as well, but he's coming off a loss to Cub Swanson, which there's nothing wrong in taking an L to Cub Swanson, especially in the main event. Over 5 rounds, took his licks in that one, won some rounds in that fight. So it's an interesting fight because both guys really do need to win. Fili's got a huge 10 inch reach advantage, and that's something where I think he really has to try and use that. Fight at distance, don't fight in a phone box like they say, because that's where Lobov would want to fight. If they get in close and they start swinging, then that's going to favour Lobov. I think that Fili can use kicks, keep him at distance, use a long jab, and just fighting outside and beat Lobov with a long game. I really do think he can beat him with that style of fighting. But Lobov makes fights dirty, and he gets in there and he's just ready to fight. He's one of those guys that will fight anywhere, anytime. But I just think that Fili's a little bit better. And is he? Because he trades wins and losses in the UFC. He has lost to some good guys, in all honesty. Rodriguez, Holloway, beat Benitez. I think he beat him as well. So he's lost to good guys, and he's beat a couple of okay guys. I'm going to go Fili. I'm going to go decision. I think 29-28 is going to be the scorecard. I think Lobov could start off quick, but I think then Fili could maybe pick him apart at distance. But I would like to see Artem win. I like Fili as well. I like Team Alpha Male, but I've met Artem many occasions and he's such a cool dude. So I'm going to pick Fili though. I just think he's still a little bit overall better fighter, but he has to be careful. And he can't go in there wanting to fist fight, throw down really with Lobov, because I don't think that will suit him whatsoever. But Fili's going to be the pick. Middleweight division, Sam Alvey against Ramazan, Emeev. Sam Alvey, although a great dude, he looks like a really nice guy, is such a spoiler fighter, and some of his fights are terrible to watch. I must admit, I'm not one for saying that, and I'm a guy that just sits at home and watches these fights, but when you sit back and review them, that they're not good fights to watch. Very low output. I think he is a decent counter striker if you've got the right opponent, which Emeev could be here. He comes forward, he's very aggressive. He has been clipped in the past with big shots, been put down with big shots in the past, but he needs Emeev to come on to him here, because if Emeev comes out very aggressive, then he can use those powerful counter strikes which he has, and can use that to his advantage. But he's just not in great fights. He's really hard to take down as well, and he just kind of scrapes himself through with very, very close wins. That fight with Rashad was terrible, not a good fight. A nice win to have on your record, but Emeev come over from M1. He was the middleweight champion over there, defended his belt 3 or 4 times. Very, very aggressive on the ground and on his feet. I remember seeing his fight with Michael Falcao, who used to fight in the UFC. I think maybe only had 1 or 2 fights. Caught him with a beautiful anaconda choke. So he's very dangerous everywhere. I think that he's just going to be the more aggressive fighter, and he's going to land more. And I'm just not going to pick Sam Alvey. I just think his fighting style is just horrid to watch, and you need an aggressive guy. Hopefully Emeev can bring out a little more fight out of him, but I'm just not confident in that at all. But I just think that Emeev is just a little bit of a better fighter now. He has to prove it. He's got to fight. This is a step up for him, fighting a guy who's fought a lot of times in the UFC, and he's won fights as well. But I think this, and plus Alves coming in here on very short notice. He even said himself in an article I just read, it's going to be the toughest weight cut to get down there. He's going to struggle. He's going to really deplete himself for this fight, so that's a big thing as well. So I'm going to go Emeev. I'm going to go decisions. Sam's very, very tough to stop, and he's hard to put out, so I'm going to pick Emeev via decision. Stasiak, Damon Stasiak against Brian Kelleher's up next. Interesting fight. I can see both guys kind of winning aspects of this fight, but I was actually really impressed with, I know he lost to Pedro Munoz, but I was actually really impressed with his will, his come forward attitude, and I just thought he looked pretty solid. You could see that he wasn't as well rounded and as crisp as what Munoz is, and just probably technically inept of what Munoz is, and he just kind of mixed up to kind of win the rounds a little bit closer. He really impressed me at UFC 204. He was in the way of losing that fight against David Grant. Pulled out a beautiful submission, so he has a good kicking game, and he has some decent combinations at his will when he wants to throw them. So I just think in Poland he's going to be G'd up fighting at home. I think that Kelleher, he's got to come out quick here and try and stop him. I don't think he can do that. I mean, Kelleher came in, beat Alcantara very, very quickly, and then he lost. Who did he lose to again? I've totally forgot. He went down to Brazil. Marlon Vera. Vera caught him with a beautiful submission in that one there. I just think Stasiak's just going to be a little bit the tougher fighter later on in the fight, and Kelleher's a guy that I think is okay. He's beat some guys that I like. I like Julio Arce, who I think he fought on the Dana White Contender Series. But I just think that I like Stasiak in his home country, and I think that's really going to buoy him up a little bit and win this fight. So I'm going to go Stasiak via decision. Anthony Hamilton's came back to the UFC, and I've no idea why. The guy retired, and literally a month to 6 weeks, or maybe even less than that, has come back fighting for a paycheck. I never like when fighters do this, they retire and then they go back and they come in here short notice. But I'll put my hand in there. I think he can win this fight. As bad as that sounds, what I watched with Adam Wieczorek, I didn't really like at all. I thought his fight with Zulaiman Assisi, he was losing that fight until he got the trip and got to the top position and rained down punches. His fight with Felipe, he didn't look a good fight at all, that Felipe, but he looked sloppy. He looked like he'd get taken down. Hamilton cannot take a shot. If Wieczorek comes out very, very, very quick, throws shots, I can see him putting Anthony Hamilton down. I really can. But I cannot pick Anthony Hamilton. The guy literally has no chin. Wieczorek is not a one-hitter quitter. He only weighs like 225 as well, so he could easily make 205. Is probably where he should go as well. For DraftKings, I'm probably going to be playing Anthony Hamilton. I'm going to be playing a bit Anthony Hamilton because he's 7'6", he's a dog, and I think he could win the fight. I do, but I can't trust him with the chin that he has. So I'm going to pick Adam Wieczorek for the win here. I'm going to pick him via TKO the end of round number 1. But if it goes late and Hamilton can secure takedowns, I can see him definitely grinding out a decision win as well. So, but the pick's going to be Wieczorek via TKO. I'm going to get in round number 1. Lightweight division with Marcin held against Nasrat, Haqparast. Haqparast coming in here on short notice. I think a couple of weeks notice there. Fighting out of Germany. I've knew about this guy for a little bit. He's not really fought too many good guys. Like literally with bad records, fighting out of Germany from Kazakhstan, I think it is. But he's not fought guys with good records, and he's just kind of blasted people out. There was a fight where a guy caught a kick of Haqparast, and Haqparast just started throwing punches and pretty much knocked the guy out. So, solid striker. Seems pretty well rounded. I think he can be taken down though, which is somewhere, I think especially against Marcin Held, you can say what you want about Marcin Held, but he is a very good grappler. He has very good control. In that fight with Damir Hadzovic, I liked Hadzovic. I just thought he was going to catch him with something. Didn't think it was going to be that, but he caught him with something. He was clearly up 2 rounds, was winning that fight. and that's just a stupid fight IQ, going for an Imanari roll and catching a big knee to the temple and losing that. Surprised he got another shot in the UFC. This is the fight I think he needs to win. This is the fight I think he will win. The odds, I did see the odds in this one, they're a little off, in my opinion. I can see him securing takedowns, I can see him controlling him across the 3 rounds. But maybe late in that 3rd round, Haqparast could come in here and surprise him and maybe put him down. I just think that Hell's going to get takedowns and just kind of take it from there and win via a judge's decision. Potentially, in fact, you know what, I'm going to go submission because he is very crafty with them and he does look for them all the way throughout the fight. So I'm going to go early. No, I'm going to have to go mid-rounds. Yeah, I'm going to go mid-round, 2nd round submission via like a knee bar or something like that. So held for the win there. Not very confident whatsoever because he could be put down with 1 shot as well. Moving on to the main card, we've got Oskar Piechota against Jonathan Wilson. Piechota, he was the Cage Warriors middleweight champion. Solid professional. It doesn't really. I watched actually quite a lot of his jiu-jitsu matches. He's actually fairly decent on the ground and looks like he can really do some damage down there, work down there. Beat Jason Radcliffe for the Cage Warriors middleweight championship. It was only his only fight he had in Cage Warriors. But he's a guy that I've knew about. A lot of guys, there's a lot of good fighters in Poland and Eastern kind of Europe that are coming through. Piechota is definitely one of those. Jonathan Wilson's dropping down from 205. I don't think he's shown anything in the UFC. I know he has a win over Chris Dempsey. I just don't think he's that good. I think he's I don't think he's good at all. I mean, he lost to Henrique de Silva, and then he lost to, I cannot remember, Kutalaba. He lost to him. Kutalaba I actually like quite a bit. I think he's a tough guy. Interesting to see how the weight cut takes on him here. I think it might suit him actually a little bit. I just think Piechota is just a little bit. The reason he's on the main card here is to show him off, try and raise him at his stock a little bit. I think if he on the feet, he needs to be careful though. Wilson does have some power in those hands. If he takes him to the ground, I think he has a bit of advantage down there. So I'm going to pick Piechota. I'm going to pick him via 2nd round submission there. Light heavyweight division, we've got Jan Blachowicz against Devin Clark. Now this is the fight I really want to pick Devin Clark, but something's pulling me towards Jan Blachowicz, and I don't know why, because Blachowicz has literally shown nothing in the UFC except for a big body kick on Ilir Latifi. He's been taken down, he's got a bad gas tank, but I think this is a do or die moment for Jan Blachowicz. Devin Clark's a guy I think, actually when I watch him, I think he's got potential, he's moving himself forward, he's getting himself better. And he's won a couple of fights. Josh Stansbury was one of them, and I forget, sorry, my memory's kind of off for this one, I can't really remember too much, and I'm not going to go click into his profile to see who he beat. But Jackson Winklejohn fighter, very smart, has a decent game plan, can secure takedowns, just overall a solid pro, and he seems to be progressing with every fight as well. Could easily be 3-0 in the UFC. He was beating, I think, Alex Nicholson until he took that big shot and went down. Blachowicz, very dangerous early. He has a win in the UFC over Igor Pokrayets as well. He could easily be in a 5-fight losing streak because I thought he could have lost that fight there. But I'm actually going to pick Blachowicz in this one here. I've seen a lot of people betting Devin Clark. I don't think it's a bad bet. I won't be betting Jan Blachowicz, but I think he can stop takedowns eventually. In saying that, he has been taken down. Alexander Gustafsson took him down when he wanted nothing in the feet with Blachowicz. Blachowicz was throwing serious heat, but he was very easy to take down. I think that's going to be Clark's game plan as well, is to try and take him down. I just got a funny feeling. I'm going to go with a kind of underdog pick here in Jan Blachowicz in his hometown. He needs to win. Plain and simple, he needs to win. If he's not, he's going to go back to KSW in Poland, be a star over there in Poland, which he was before he came into the UFC. Do I see him beating over 3 rounds? It's going to be tough. I'm going to go 29-28 for Blachowicz. Kind of like a hometown decision though. Would rather see Devin Clark win because he's younger, coming through. Maybe has more to offer. But I think Blachowicz is going to get a dirty hometown decision. So that's a bit of a weird one that I'm picking there. Co-main event, Karolina Kowalkiewicz against Jodie Esquibel. Yeesh. This is like an Invicta main event, pretty much. Jodie Esquibel coming into the UFC and getting a co-main event. I know it's because Karolina's in Poland and she's probably a big star over there. But Esquibel, she was a former boxer. I think she had like a 7-7 record. not great. Very, very small. I think that Karolina's going to be too fast for her. Her hands are going to be... her combinations are going to be too crisp. And we have seen in the past Jodie Esquibel take a lot of damage as well and take a lot of shots. So I think this was going to be a tough fight here. I mean, she beat Deanna Bennett, who I think is a fairly decent fighter, but she was depleting herself moving down to that 115. Her fighting at 125 is definitely going to benefit her in that one. In the fight with Alexa Grasso, she took a shit ton of strikes, got beat up really badly. I just think this is not a good fight for her. I think that Karolina's coming off devastating loss to Claudia Gadelha, where she was subbed inside a few minutes. She's going to want to put on a show in her hometown here. I think she's going to really beat up Jodie Esquibel over three rounds very convincingly. I can see a 10-8 round being in there, possibly her being dropped, which is saying something. I can see 30-26s for Karolina in this one here. I just can't pick Jodie Esquibel. I don't think she's going to have anything for Karolina Kowalkiewicz. So Karolina via a unanimous decision, a very wide unanimous decision. And the main event of the night, the cowboy Donald Cerrone comes over to Europe for a fight, which is pretty cool. Got a couple of guys, a couple of friends going out there, which I'm really happy they got a pretty decent name as the main event. And I got the surprise as Darren Till is moving up. This guy is literally jumping 2 or 3 levels at least, going from Yasin Ayari to Bojan Velickovic to Donald Cerrone. That is a big, big step up, and one I can see potentially maybe hurting Cerrone. I think a win is not out of the question here for Darren Till. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a little bit too early. Darren Till is uber confident in himself and his skills, showing that he's got a very decent kick to the body, which has hurt Donald Cerrone in the past. And stepping elbows, really nice. Just his left side, he's very, very solid off that side. But it's really hard to... I've seen people, I know Justin from BroPicks has picked Darren Till, he's bet Darren Till at plus 130. Donald Cerrone's seen every type of fighter, really, and he's came forward and faced them all, and he's had decent strikers. I think he's had better strikers than what Darren Till is. But we need to wait and see, because Till is coming through. This is maybe the fight where he raises his level and really shows that he's going to be a top 15 guy. I don't even rank Darren Till as a top 30 welterweight. Now he's facing the number 5 or 6 guy in there, who's faced everybody and really only loses to the best guys. Very close fight with Robbie Lawler. I think Robbie was definitely the guy who should have won that fight, but it was close. But Cerrone, I think, is on the kind of last legs of his career as well. He is depleting a little bit, not fastly, but pretty slow. He's deteriorating a little bit. But I still think he's got more than enough to beat Darren Till. This fight kind of reminds me of Cerrone versus Miles Jury, when the young guy was stepping up, very confident, and Donald Cerrone just kind of beat him down. I pretty much see kind of going this way. Darren Till is going to be the bigger guy, so that's something as well. I've actually bet Donald Cerrone at minus 150, and pretty confident that can hit. I think if Darren Till doesn't get him out early, then Donald Cerrone's going to get him out there in the mid rounds. So just too good. I think Donald Cerrone is going to be too good, but big opportunity for Darren Till. We'd actually like to see Darren Till win instead of Cerrone, because we need more guys in Europe. He could easily main event an event in Liverpool. The UFC should have been in Liverpool years ago. To have them not go there in the last 5 years is criminal, in my opinion. This is the guy that could bring them there, so I don't think it's going to happen. I think Donald Cerrone, across all aspects of the game, is just going to be a little bit better. Has to be careful with some big shots from Till, but I think if he was to go to the ground, he would easily win. On the feet, I think he is the better striker. He just has to be careful, because Till can crack. We've seen that with the Velickovic fight, where the stepping elbow was really... But that was someone, Velickovic as well, he was kind of taunting a little bit, which was stupid. Cerrone's going to be the pick. I'm going to pick him via third round, TKO or submission. But the mid rounds is where it's going to go down, I think. So that's my picks for UFC Gdansk. UFC Fight Night 118, I think it is, if I remember off the top of my head. We're back next week for a really solid card, which I've watched a bit of tape on already. Brunson v Machida, Darren Brazil. That's a stat card, a really solid card. Looking forward to that. Today is early Thursday morning, 2 a.m. So I'll probably try and get that out Sunday evening for you guys. Going to do a little bit more tape over the next few days after my work. And then Sunday when I'm off, I'll probably do a lot of that as well. So appreciate you viewing as per usual. Thank you for subscribing. Keep it going. Come follow me at MMA Huddle as well for my podcast. We review the last card, look ahead to the next card, take your questions. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, we're on iTunes there as well. So I appreciate the support as always. Take care. I will see you all very, very soon. And thank you for your patience and your messages for me to get this out. I really appreciate it. Take care. Speak to you.